She sent that message while I was sorting through my dad's belongings. I hope you're satisfied now. What did you make me look like? A monster? I didn't answer her. I just flipped my phone face down on the table and folded my dad's old blue plaid shirt, pressing the fabric flat the way he used to do things when he was young. To be honest, I had waited for this moment for years. Not the revenge kind of waiting, but the kind where someone finally admits, even indirectly, you hurt us, you abused us, and now we finally have proof to say it out loud. That kind of waiting, the first thing I did. I told the truth, every word of it, no dramatics, no. Screenshots blasted everywhere. Just this. For every person who asked, why didn't you mention your mom in the obituary? I told the truth, and I remember every shift in their expression, a frown, a long silence, anger, or that dawning realization of what my dad had actually lived through. Before, whenever I tried to speak up, she always twisted the story, reframed it, made herself the victim. But now, she had no chance to interrupt because this was an obituary that my father's life summary, something she had no authority to revise. She couldn't cut in. She couldn't deny it. She couldn't cry over my voice. For the first time, she lost completely that I simply stated facts, and her persona began to collapse. For years, she maintained a perfect little persona among relatives. The poor woman abandoned by her husband and daughter, misunderstood, isolated, helpless, and many people believed her because she could cry on cue, perform her sorrow, and posture like an innocent woman who had never hurt anyone. But I'd been keeping receipts for years, emails, conversations, where my dad's medical money actually went. Even the screenshots of her flirting with other men left open because she forgot to log out of the shared computer. That I didn't push these out publicly. But when people asked, I laid everything out, one event at a time. Every single person fell silent for a long, long moment. That silence was revenge, not yelling, not fighting. Just the kind of silence that happens when people realize that they've been deceived for years. That real strike back, refusing to let her keep living off my father's name. What she cares about most is her image, not love, not responsibility, attention, pity, and applause. That I did two things, and they shattered her. First, I removed her name from the obituary, no explanation. That alone was enough to unbalance her because she couldn't justify it to anyone. How can a wife have no place in her own husband's obituary? She sent me a dozen messages that I replied to none. Silence hurts more than insults. Second, when people asked about her, I told the truth without a single insult. This was what she couldn't tolerate. She lives on arguments. She overwhelms truth with tears. She attacks everyone who tells the truth. But this time, I didn't curse, that I didn't exaggerate, that I didn't even raise my voice, that I simply said she was having emotional affairs while my dad was better, and she transferred his money to strangers. She didn't cook, didn't care, didn't stay with him. She threatened divorce but didn't go through with it because she wanted the money. She let him fall, injure himself, go unattended. She cared only about how pitiful she looked to others. All of this was true. When you say the truth calmly, the listener fills in the rest on their own. And that hit harder than any fight ever could. She wanted to cry, play victim, reverse the blame. Useless. Reality itself was saying, you erased yourself. No one else did that. She began to fall apart. About 2 weeks later, she finally sent a voice message. Just one sentence. You ruined me. I deleted it. I didn't feel a wide no triumph. Just a sense that the pieces were finally lining up. She wasn't ruined by me. She had been walking toward this ending for years. I simply stopped hiding the truth for her. The real reckoning began after that. The obituary was just the first layer. Next came the part she feared most. I started sorting through all the documents, bank statements, medical papers my dad left behind. The more I read, the worse it got why dad had been covering up so much to keep her from exploding. How much money she took, how many transfers she demanded, how she diverted his treatment money into shopping, how she left him alone during fevers, how many times he begged her not to yell at him. Some transactions he even marked, "Do not tell her." I sat on the floor holding that paper, crying so hard I couldn't continue. Not out of heartbreak, but out of rage that my dad was afraid of her until the day he died. Right then, I made up my mind. I would never protect her again. That if people asked, I told the truth. If she tried using my dad's name to scam sympathy or money, I showed evidence. If she played the victim, I let the facts speak. That I wasn't destroying her life. I just stopped protecting the person who caused the damage. She finally realized things had changed. Before, she could lie, manipulate, perform, and I'd always clean up the mess. Now I do nothing. And that is revenge. Stopping the protection of an abuser is the sharpest blade. In no schemes, no plots, no attacks, just letting the truth stand uncovered. She finally understood. Without me, she couldn't maintain her illusion. She silenced my dad for years. Now I was silencing her. Not by force, but by refusing to provide her a stage for her lies. And then came the moment she truly began to fear. The day she felt true fear for the first time. That day started out ordinary enough. I was rebinding the files my dad had left me, organizing them by year. The table was scattered with medical bills and bank statements. Yellowed receipts piled up like fragmented memories. At 12:30 p.m., my phone rang. It was my uncle. His voice sounded strange, like he'd just argued with someone. "Your mom is making a scene at home. She says you've destroyed everything she's worked for over the years. She's posted several messages in the family group. You better check them." I set the bills aside and opened my phone. The family chat had over 200 messages. That I clicked the latest one. It was her voice note, trembling. "I've held this family together all these years. I didn't leave him when he was sick. I took care of him. How can you believe her? She wrote that obituary just to get back at me. I'm the one who's been abandoned." She cried as she raised her voice, performing a one-woman show only she knew how to direct. Before, whenever she cried like this, someone in the chat would always comfort her. "Don't be sad. We know it hasn't been easy for you. She's young and naive. Don't take it to heart." But this time, the group went eerily silent. Minutes passed without a single reply. For the first time, my mom had no audience. Then my uncle sent a second voice note, tone cold and direct. "The kids are saying you never cooked, never took care of their uncle while he was sick. Do you want me to say it out loud?" Suddenly, dozens of appeared in the chat. Scores of people were watching, but no one defended her. Her usual stage collapsed. That I didn't say a word. That I just watched the messages scroll past. Then she realized something was wrong and sent me a private message. "What did you tell them? Why don't they believe me?" I stared at that line for a long time. This wasn't a question, it was fear. For the first time, she discovered. She no longer controlled the narrative. That I replied with four simple words. I said nothing. After a few seconds, she shot back. "You're lying." But behind that word, there was no anger, only panic. That I didn't respond further. I just took a screenshot. My uncle's voice saying the facts. Hearing the truth come from a relative carried far more weight than anything I could say. That I sent her the screenshot. She didn't reply for a long time that I could imagine her sitting at home, staring at her phone, voice stuck, unable to speak. She tried to strike back and only exposed herself more at 2 p.m. that afternoon. She suddenly called my cousin, someone I'm relatively close to. Without hanging up, she sent me a voice note. She's crying now. She said, "If everyone believes you, I won't survive." My cousin's voice was resigned. "Do you know? Her crying doesn't sound sad at all. It sounds like panic at being caught." I said nothing. My cousin continued. "She says she wants to come to your house to argue with you. Be careful." At that moment, I felt a calm I had never felt before, because I knew clearly no matter what she did, I wouldn't let her cross that threshold. Before, I would have softened, compromised, thinking, fine, let her calm down a bit. But now I finally understood. An abuser's power comes not from skill, but from you letting them stand over you. Once you stop retreating, she can't move. She came to the door. Point 4:30 p.m. A rapid, emotional knock on the door. That I glanced at the security monitor. It was her red-rimmed eyes, messy hair, as if she had rushed over without a thought for appearance. That I didn't open the door. That I grabbed my phone, turned on recording, and spoke through the door. "What do you want?" Her voice, filtered through the wood, sounded sharp. "You've ruined me, and you ask that? You've made the whole family betray me." She drew a shaky breath, losing control. "Do you think you're the good one? I took care of your dad." "I did," I replied coldly. "Do you want me to show you the surveillance footage?" Silence outside. It was the video of my dad falling while she walked past without even glancing. That day, I had rushed to him after he called and got him to the hospital. She didn't know I had saved it. After a few seconds, her voice trembled. "You wouldn't do that." I calmly said, "If you keep lying, I will." At that moment, she truly panicked. I could see her hands shaking on the monitor. She stepped back, glanced at the staircase, as if afraid someone was watching. This was true fear, not anger, not grievance, fear of being seen. She stood at the door for 10 seconds. Then, for the first time in front of me, she said almost a plea, "Can you stop saying things? I beg you." I didn't soften. That I simply replied calmly, "I'm just stating facts. What you're worried about isn't what I said, it's what you did." Silence again. Then she left. The way she walked that day I will never forget. Hunched slightly, unsteady steps, like someone who had always propped herself up with lies suddenly had the supports removed. She wasn't destroyed by me. She was crushed by the truth. She disappeared voluntarily for the first time. For the next week, she was eerily quiet in the group. No crying, no yelling, no excuses. She knew that anything she said would be questioned. Are these things true or not? She couldn't answer. Every word would humiliate her furthered. She hid. And for someone who treats attention and sympathy like food, being ignored is the cruelest punishment. She once relied on pity to maintain her persona. Now, she didn't even have an audience to pity her. This is part of revenge and an inevitable conclusion. When someone lives on lies, even a little light will make them hide. And the thing that will truly break her is still coming.